Sometimes people might find themselves go beyond the boundaries. A wonderful professor was telling me a very interesting story about sheep. For those people who have looked after sheep for some time, that for a long time when shepherds take these sheep to eat in the pastures, a time comes where the shepherd teaches these sheep the line not to cross. And as these sheep mature, they reach a place where they can never cross that line. They'll be free ranging in the field. You'll see them moving, but they're all conscious of the boundaries between their territory and their neighbor's territory. And it's amazing. As interesting as, damn, sometimes sheep can be. They never cross that line. Now, when you study from Jewish philosophy, when they talk about a lost sheep, a sheep is lost when it cannot discern beyond the imaginary boundaries that its shepherd has set it. That's what they call a lost sheep. You get it? It's not necessarily meandering far that you can't see it. But if a mother sheep is here with her children, right? And other sheep are eating, it always comes and shows them that this is as far as we eat. We don't cross 2 meters in. And they will never cross there. They can express themselves in the liberties for as far and wide as this ground is, but they never go beyond a certain line. But if a sheep crosses that line, it's called lost. So someone is not as lost because they are missing in the fold, but they're as lost as the position that they carry, even to the minutest millimeter outside the boundaries of the liberties given. If you didn't understand it, it's not yours. You get it? So, I think it's the responsibility of the church to teach people the boundaries around our liberties, because all godly liberty has boundaries. Because once they can understand that boundary, without shame or guilt or the fear of going off course, they can express themselves in this liberty and receive all manner of experiences, and will not worry to turn another person back to line because we feel that they're in the excess of a sin. Yes, in every revival, there will always be excesses. But eventually, if we maintain the boundaries, they eventually find themselves in those boundaries. Some ministers, instead of maintaining the boundaries and keeping the liberty, they take away the liberty. So the sheep has literally the boundaries reduced to zero. And again, frustrated potential comes. And because they're frustrated, they become wild. Because they have no place anymore to call their own territory. And as you continue to draw those boundaries so close to them, now that is called the spirit of religion. It seeks to be politically correct. It's always on the lines of reason and reason and reason. If something is not reasonable, if it can't be calculated, it's not true. You carry a form of godliness but denying the very power thereof. Somebody tells you, we've been in this thing for years, and then you bring them a flu and they can't heal a flu. That's not the way of the Spirit. With all due respect, that I may make manifest as I ought to speak it. If we don't deliver people into that liberty, and every time we're scaring them of boundaries, yet they don't understand the liberties, we're in trouble. Or if there are no boundaries to that. That's why now we are challenged with a newer breed of ministers who seem so gifted. You see themselves so expressed in the liberties, but it's as though they are telling this generation that there are no boundaries. The other day I saw in shock a prophet prophesying to a lady, and he's telling her, you went to bed. I see that you are using the condom, the color of the condoms I said, Jesus, this ain't the Holy Spirit. The knicker you are putting on was this color. The bed sheets you are putting on were this color. People are screaming, yeah, professor. And I'm like, This brother needs, I'm in trouble. If he sees it, he'll even abuse me. Listen. The Holy Spirit cannot take a prophet into a woman's knicker. That's not possible. And tell them how many rounds and the condoms they use. That is not the Holy Spirit. If you think it's the Holy Spirit, put up your hand and teach us. But that's the newer breed of ministers. And this is not only happening to prophets, even as apostles, we are dealing with our things. Pastors, we are also dealing with our things. Yes, evangelists, we also have our issues. God help us. So when you say there are no boundaries, it brings a generation of people who are so in the liberties that they express themselves beyond the Spirit is able to give, and give heed to familiar spirits. Oh, Balaam did it. Balaam could hear God and give into gainsayings. He could hear a familiar spirit and prophesy by a familiar spirit, and then switch back. Balaam prophesied the coming of Christ. But he could switch into a familiar spirit and teach Balak a mystery, and teach him how to curse the children of Israel through a mystery by the inspiration of a familiar spirit. You see what I'm saying? So it's possible to trade in both worlds.